Hey guys, what is going on? I apologize for the ugly background behind me. Maybe one day I'll have my own studio, just like the other big YouTubers. So today I'm here to talk to you about why I switched from the oh so popular S20 Ultra back to the Vivo Nex 3. Now the S20 Ultra, at least the Snapdragon version, is worthy of a flagship name. It has all the flagship features, you know, great display, great everything. But it falls short, at least for me personally, in multiple areas where the Nex 3 doesn't. Now a lot of you guys, my viewers, are tolerant of Vivo phones, but there are some people that are like, Vivo? Fun touch, Chinese crap, bloatware. And to all the problems that you have in mind, most of them can be fixed. Without further ado, I'm gonna tell you why I prefer the Nex 3 over the S20 Ultra. Both of these phones have great displays, but I personally prefer the Vivo Nex 3. They both look more or less exactly the same, but the Nex 3 doesn't have a punch hole, which even though, you know, the S20 Ultra punch hole is tiny, it's still there, it still bothers you, it's in the middle, so viewing content is better on the Vivo Nex 3. Now you might be saying, oh, but the edges there are weird, it's too curved, you're gonna get accidental touches. Well, no, I'm holding it. I have never gotten accidental touches. Like, the only thing I had a problem with was, for example, in Gmail, when I want to swipe left to go back, it always swipes away the email to archive it. What if that annoys me? But you know, it's really not that bad. Other than that, the edge screen is great. It looks amazing. It feels amazing, especially since we don't have any buttons. We have the virtual buttons that work with haptic feedback, which work great. Never had any problem with it. So this is my first Samsung device with a Snapdragon chip. Now I don't think it's the chip's fault, because in other phones it doesn't have the issues that I'm about to explain. But something with US models, I don't know what it is, but they just seem worse. Like the problems I had on this phone, I never had on any other previous Samsung phone that's the international model. For example, I've had recurring issues where I just lost mobile connectivity. Sometimes no network connection at all. Sometimes it would show my provider, but no 3G or 4G at all. Now, before you tell me, oh, because the 4G doesn't work that well, I've used other phones with the 865, I never had this problem, only this phone. And the only way to fix that would be to clear cache, and that would work for a little while until about 2 or 3 weeks later it would happen again. I also noticed that the phone just kind of slowed down over time. I've only been using this for 3 months, and I always have it set on 120Hz Full HD, but the 120Hz doesn't work that well. Like maybe if it's wiping on the home screen, sure, but every time I'm trying to read comments on a video, it would always stutter. It would go back to 60 FPS or 80, or I don't know. I don't have an FPS reader. It's not just reading comments on YouTube. It'll be web browsing. It would always stutter. So not only are you limited to Full HD when you're using 120Hz, it doesn't even work that well. And the camera, don't even get me started on the camera. It's just garbage. You know, there's nothing special about it. They can advertise all they want about the 100x zoom, all these gimmicks, you know. But don't get me wrong, the 30x zoom, even the 50x zoom, it works great. I mean, sure, it's not the highest quality, of course, what do you expect? But you know, you can get some pretty decent shots. When you get to 100, that's when it becomes unusable. You just get like these blobs of blurriness that doesn't even, you know, uncomprehendable. So, you know, I'm glad that with the Note 20 series it's gonna be 50x, because that really is the sweet spot. You don't need more than that, so I'm glad Samsung is fixing that. Also, the fact of the autofocus. You know, autofocus works fine. It only backfires when I try to focus on the subject close up. It never focuses right when I try to do something close up, but when on any other phone, it does. It drives me crazy. It's gotten to the point where I had to manually adjust the focus in the Pro setting just to get a simple shot that any other phone would do perfectly. It just drives me crazy. So all of these issues alone were enough for me to just say goodbye to this phone. I should be lucky to even sell this for half of its value, because apparently, since I imported this from the US, the parts in my country aren't compatible with this one. So, you know, it's gonna be a bit tricky to sell it, let alone for a price that I feel is fair. And importing it was expensive. I spent an extra few $100s just to import it through DHL because the site that I bought it from didn't do what any other person does and just under-declare it. So, you know, I'm not stuck paying some heavy ass fine. So is there any major difference stepping back from the Snapdragon 865 to the 855 Plus? Well, no, not at all. You know, I'm not a heavy gamer. I rarely game on my phones, and when I do, they're light, medium games. It's not like PUBG or anything like that. I have a proper gaming PC for that. I don't spend all day on my phone for that. You know, the 855 Plus still perfectly fine for 2020, maybe even the 845. Even with all of Vivo's bloatware, the FunTouch still feels faster. As you can see, this is how my Nex 3 looks like. I have Nova Launcher running perfectly, no problems at all. The only thing that's missing for me is pretty much dual speakers, and that's pretty much it. And S-series phones always had problems in the past. S7 Edge, terrible battery degradation and display issues. Galaxy S8, well, nothing really wrong with that phone that I can think of. Galaxy S9, Exynos 9810, terrible battery drain. Galaxy S10, poor design choices, at least on the Plus variant. We get a whole pill-shaped cutout, like one hole wasn't enough. We get two holes right next to each other in a pill shape. Now at first I thought this was a wide angle camera, and if that was the case I could have forgiven it, but no, it's for better background blur. Slightly better background blur. And for that, we sacrifice a good portion of the upper right display. For those of you who don't know, background blur can be achieved with one camera. You can't even tell the difference with one or two cameras, really. Now I've had people argue with me like, oh, but it's better, you know, we have it's better to have it with another camera where the background blur works better. But even if that was true, the difference is so tiny, nobody, even side by side, nobody will be able to tell the difference. So the fact that I have to sacrifice screen real estate for something I'm never even gonna use anyway, it's ridiculous. That's why I never even bought it. But the S20 Ultra, on the other hand, it seemed to have great specs, you know, 120 Hz. First phone to have 120 Hz. I couldn't skip that. I could not skip that this year. Normally I skip S-series phones just because they have so many problems. You know, the Notes are pretty much the refined versions of the S-series phones. Like all the issues the S-series phones have, the Note series seem to have fixed all those issues. For example, autofocus issues gonna be fixed with the Note 20 Ultra. We're gonna have a better, more refined 120 Hz display, so I have very high hopes the issues I mentioned previously are not gonna happen on the Note 20 series. You know, unless Samsung does something incredible, and I mean incredible, with the Galaxy S21, most chances are I'm not even gonna buy it. I've skipped every S-series phone since the S7 Edge for a reason, because they tend to be bad. I mean, the phones themselves are pretty good, but it's just these tiny little issues that all of them combined provide you a bad experience. But I don't know, maybe you don't even notice these issues. Maybe you're perfectly happy. To get the absolute best experience out of your phone, you have to be pretty experienced with phones like me. You know, you have to know how to root sometimes, but you know, that's not for everyone. But you know, use developer options, you know, animation speed, USB debugging, you know, ADB, fast boot, recovery mode, all those tiny little things. So because with all that knowledge, I was able to turn this phone, which would normally be completely unusable in Western countries, to something pretty damn enjoyable. You know, that is if you would give FunTouch a chance. You know, I think most people would be pretty happy with FunTouch. You know, it just became a meme at this point. Like, oh my god, it's so bad. You know how memes work. Everyone follows them without actually trying it for themselves. But if you are inexperienced with phones and you want to do what I did anyway, then I'm going to link the video on how I turned this Vivo Nex 3 into something usable. That is a reason why I switched from the S20 Ultra to the Vivo Nex 3. In my opinion on S-series phones in general, it's not really facts. I'm not saying anything I said is 100% fact, or I did research, you know. I'm just saying my experience alone. Everyone's experience could be different. Alright, don't go in the comments, that's not true what you said on the Galaxy S20 Ultra. It's great, no problem, it's just you have personal problem. All I'm saying is my experience and why I switched. And the reason I even bothered making a video is because maybe some of you agree, maybe you're also experiencing all these issues and you're pretty much sick and tired of this phone. You spent 1,400 bucks and you're getting all these problems. You're like, what the hell, man? So, you know, I have pretty high hopes for the Note 20 series. If you want to stay loyal to Samsung, I would just skip S series phones unless they stop having all these problems and just buy Note series phones or A series phones at least, you know. But that, guys, that's pretty much it. I will see you in the next video. Peace.